Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be all of the products I currently have pan on video. I try to do one of these every April and October of every year. It's basically a brag fest. I've said this before, but this is like my personal award ceremony. This is the video that kind of shows off what all my hard work is for, and it's very unapologetic. Okay. I'm gonna say it. I don't apologize. I'm not gonna apologize for it, but I do hope that it might inspire some of you guys to Project Pan as well. It's a marathon. Project panning is, for me personally, project panning is a marathon, not a sprint. And so a lot of times from day to day, it is frustrating. You're not seeing a lot of progress. It feels like you're never going to get there. But if you look at your project panning journey over a larger chunk of time, say 6 months, you can usually see the fruits of your labor more clearly. So that is what this is. I like to update you guys on what I've hit pan on over the past 6 months, what I have finished that I previously have pan on, and what I've worked on, even though I have not yet finished it, that had pan on before. If you watch my videos regularly, none of this is going to be a surprise to you because you've seen it all before. All of these items have been in various projects that I've been doing over the past 6 months. So you already know about these things, but it is still interesting to kind of see it all together in one place. I know I personally kind of forget the timeline. 6 months is just a blink in time, but it also can be a long passage of time where you're like, oh wow, did I hit that in the last 6 months? Or like, what about that pan? I thought I hit that in the last 6 months. No, you hit it longer than 6 months ago. So it's interesting to do these videos and just kind of see what's changed or not. I always say in every video that I'm looking for change. I don't care if the number of products I have pan on goes up or it goes down. I just want something to be different this time than it was 6 months ago. And I've been doing these videos since 2018, and I'm very happy to report that every single time there's been change. So I'm happy with that. Interestingly enough, this time, the overall number of products I have panned is exactly the same as it was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I had 82 products with pan. That was an all-time high at that time. I've never had that many products with pan before. And in October of 2022, I still have 82 products with pan, but there has been a lot of change. So let's talk about all the change. Okay, let's start with the products that had pan in them 6 months ago, and I have since finished over the past 6 months. The products are entirely used up and gone and no longer part of my makeup collection. There are 8 products in that category. So that is a pretty decent amount. I'm not mad at that. Yeah. So I have 8 products that had pan 6 months ago and I have now completely finished. No surprise, a lot of the pans I'm going to be talking about throughout this entire video come from my Pan That palette for 2022. This is my e.l.f. 100 pan palette. It is a huge palette with 100 shades, but not much product in each pan of shadow. And I'm basically using this palette every single day at this point. I have not hit any new pan since my last Pan That palette update. So there shouldn't be any major spoilers for my Pan That palette, but I do think there are a couple spoilers overall in this video, and I'm not sure if I'm going to hold on to this video until I post the Project Pan updates or if I'm just going to give the spoilers to you guys. But there are a couple spoilers in this video, but not with this palette. So there are 3 products. There are 3 pans in this palette that previously had pan showing, and I have completely finished off in the past 6 months. The first one being this, in no particular order, this was a matte white shadow right here, kind of like an off-white shadow. I had pan 6 months ago and I completely finished it off. This was a shimmery brow bone highlight, had pan 6 months ago and I finished it off. And this was kind of an awesome peachy highlighty shade, and that had pan and I finished it off. The only other completely finished eyeshadow in this palette is this one right here. This was like a dusty pink shade that I loved very much. No surprise. It was the first pan It was the first pan of eyeshadow that I finished off in this project, but that one I finished prior to my last video of products I have pan on. So it must have happened before April of this year. So that one doesn't count, but there are 3 eyeshadows in this palette that I finished off since my last update in April. I will definitely be talking about that palette again soon, but let's move on to some other products. 2 more products that I completely finished off in the past 2 months come from my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour palette. Those are these 2 shades right here. The pans are gorgeous and cleaned out and empty. I really enjoyed those 2 shades very, very much, but I finished them off in the past 6 months, and I'm also happy. I'm very happy about that. So that's 5. The 6th product I completely finished off that had pan 6 months ago is my Clinique Gentle Glow Deluxe Sample. This was a glowy setting powder. It's gone. I also completely finished off 1 pan from this concealer duo. This is from Physicians Formula. It's called the Perfecting Concealer Duo in Green Light, and I finished off the light shade. I'm still working on the green, obviously, but the light shade is now gone. And the last product that I had pan on 6 months ago and is now an empty is one that just happened this morning, October 24th, today. I created this empty and I couldn't be happier. It is my butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. I finally finished this off today, and this is in my A to Z project. So like I said, this is going to be a spoiler, so I'm not sure if I'm going to post this video before or after I film and post my update for A to Z. But yeah, here she is, all gone, finished off today. I'm very happy. I'm very excited. I actually could not even get a full face of bronzer on. I applied it to my cheeks and ran out, and then I had to pull out another bronzer to bronze my forehead a little bit. So, yep, very happy about that. All right, so those are all the products that had pan 6 months ago and currently are finished. This next product is in a category all of its own, and it's another spoiler. So yeah, it's a spoiler. But I have a product that had pan 6 months ago, and in the past 6 months, I have repressed that pan of eyeshadow and hit pan again, and it comes from my Viseart Petite Pro 2 palette. This was my pan that palette from last year, I believe. And I had pretty good pan on this peachy shade here, and I repressed it, and I've hit pan again. This is currently in my Graveyard Project pan, I think, which ends in just a few days. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I could expand the pan a little bit more between now and the finale on October 31st. But I'm at my goal of hitting pan on it again, and I'm happy about that. I haven't worked on any of these other 7 shades in the past 6 months, but I have been working on this one, and I'm happy I hit pan on it again. It doesn't feel good when you lose a pan. It's never a good feeling. I hate to lose pans through repressing, even though sometimes repressing needs to happen. I'm glad to have my pan back again. All right, next, let's talk about products that had pan on them 6 months ago. They still have pan on them. I've been working on them, but I haven't finished them off yet. It'll be really interesting to see how many of these products will be empties when I do this video again in 6 months, and how many of them I'll still be working on in 6 months, and how many of them I will have chosen to take a break from and put them away for a little while. That does happen with me every now and then. It doesn't always matter how far along I am with a product. Sometimes I just hit a wall. I need to put it away for a little while and take a break from it. And that's happened to some of the products in this project. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in 6 months. But for right now, there are 12 items that have panned still and I'm still working on, but I haven't finished off yet. And no surprise, 7 of them come from my Pan That palette. Okay, first of all, I have these 3 pans right here. These 3 all had panned prior to me starting Pan That palette in January. And I have worked on them off and on, but they're still here. They still have pan. But also some pans that I've hit since starting this project in January and had pan on in April include this purple down here, this shade right here that I refer to as my New Wave dupe, just because it reminds me so much of the shade New Wave from the Subculture palette from ABH, and these two browns right here. And this one is so close to being gone, but it's not gone yet. So that's 7 of the pans that had pan 6 months ago and still have pan. Also, ColourPop Couche. I feel like I've talked about this in every one of these updates for years. One day it'll be gone, but it's not gone yet. I use this almost every day as an inner corner highlight. Today I actually have it on all over my eyelids. It was just one of those mornings where I couldn't even think of what I wanted to wear as far as makeup goes. And I just thought, whatever, let's just use Couche all over the lid. And I do love it. I mean, I like this shadow very much. I think I've mentioned that a time or two. But here's where we're at with that guy. I definitely feel like I've expanded the pan, but he's not gone yet. Also, my Maybelline Dream Bouncy blush. I feel like I've worked on this blush forever. Had pan 6 months ago. Still has pan. The pan has expanded. Another lifer is my MAC concealer. This is going to be around for the next 10 years. It just won't go. It's moving unbelievably slowly. It's crazy, but still working on it. Next is the green side of my Physicians Formula Concealer Duo. That is something I wear every single day. And the pan is huge, but I feel like this is probably going to be around in 6 months still. It might not be gone by next April. It's really going very slowly with that guy. And finally, I have my matte shade from my Smashbox Duo. This had pan 6 months ago, and it still has pan. Hopefully the pan has expanded. What just fell out of there? Did you guys see that? This was my Pan That palette 2 years ago. It was part of my Panning Solitaire project. And then after that project ended, I rolled it into my Baby Pan That palette. And so I've been working on it for the last 1.5 years as my Baby Pan That palette. I love that duo very, very much. Hopefully I will have another pan in that palette by this time next April, because it is taking me forever to hit pan on that other shade. And finally, it is time to talk about the new pans that I've hit over the past 6 months. There are 9, which, yeah, I'm pretty happy about 9 new pans. I'll take it. Again, most of them come from my Pan That palette this year. Specifically 5 of the 9 new pans that I've hit since April have come from my Pan That palette. Let's see if I could remember what they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the 5 new pans that I've hit over the past 6 months. But that's not all. I have 4 more products that I've hit pan on. These 4 products I pulled out of the office. I'm not currently working on them. My goal was to hit pan on them, and once I achieved that goal, they rolled out of whatever project they were in, and I have not worked on since then. First of all, I have Buns from my Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette. That's the shade right here. Very happy to have that gorgeous little pan. I really like that eyeshadow. I really like this palette, but I felt like I worked on this for a really long time. Also, another Super Shock shadow. I used to hit pan on Super Shock shadows like it was nothing. I am not working on these as much as I was before, and they're starting to dry out and crumble, and so I don't know how to count those anymore, because once they're crumbled, I don't feel like I could count it as pan. but it's frustrating because I am using them a ton. But anyways, I did hit pan on ColourPop's Birthday Wish in the past 6 months, and this is still holding strong. I had a hard time saying I hit pan on this because it's not technically a pan, but this is my Bare Minerals Translucent Powder Duo, and I'm calling it pan. But it's this matte shade right here that has that orange bit showing through up there, and I think it was on one of the sides too. Yeah, this side, there's a little bit of orange showing through as well, and I'm calling that pan because this is a baked product and it's baked on like a tile, but I hit the bottom. And the final product that I've hit pan on in the past 6 months and I'm no longer currently working on comes from my Too Faced Life's a Festival palette. That is the shade right here called Fun in the Sun. It was another absolutely gorgeous eyeshadow that I really, really enjoyed working on. It's a duochrome. It was so great. The formula of these shadows is amazing as well. But once I hit pan on that, I stopped working on it because I met my goal. So that is everything I have to show you. The only other thing I wanted to add was that in addition to everything I've showed you today, there are 61 products that I previously had hit pan on in my collection that I haven't worked on at all in the past 6 months, and therefore I haven't touched them, and therefore I haven't pulled them out to talk about today because there's nothing to talk about. And obviously I would love to get back to all 61 of those products down the road, and it would be great to finish them off, but for one reason or another, they just haven't gotten back into the rotation for project panning, and hopefully, I will find a way to fit them in. I do think about this list, or sometimes even when I'm starting a project, I will look for products that have pan in and think, what can I finish off to get out of my stash? But, just because you've hit pan on something doesn't mean it's almost gone. It means the process of finishing a product has just started. So just because I have pan on them doesn't mean it's like got one foot out the door. It's still got a lot of life left in it, even after I hit pan for a lot of these products. But I do hope to put a few of these in projects over the next 6 months to a year and work towards finishing them off. But I'm really, really happy with all of the panning progress I've made over the past 6 months. And I'm really surprised that at the end of the day, despite all these fluctuations with pans being finished and new pans coming in and working on all these different items, that at the end of the day, the number of 82 products with pan is exactly the same as it was 6 months ago. I don't think that's ever happened before. Yeah. That's not happening this time either. I just caught a mistake because if I had 8 finished products and 9 new pans, it doesn't add up to 82. And I figured it out. I made my new list a few days ago, and at that time I didn't have pan on my Viseart Petite Pro 2 that I repressed. So I took it out of this list and forgot to add it back in. So my numbers are all screwed up. So I have added it back in, and my total count of products with pan is now 83. So my numbers did go up by 1, and I have a new all-time record of 83 pans. Yay! Sorry for the confusion. It wouldn't be a Paula video if I didn't screw up the math at some point, right? The numbers have mostly gone up from update to update. I think one time it went down, but it's never stayed the same. But I am very happy with the progress I've made, and it is reassuring to see that despite the fact that I am a slow panner, and despite the fact that it does take me a long time to make any progress, when I look back at a chunk of time like 6 months, I can see that clearly I have been making progress. I have been doing good. It is working slowly but surely. My project panning is working, and that definitely keeps me feeling motivated and good about what I'm doing around here. So that is it for this update, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.